West Preacher 357 here, out here on the range. Gonna bring to you another gun, another one of these smaller double stacks, stack and a half, however you want to call them, guns that they've come out with following the introduction of the SIG P365. Everybody's trying to get in on the action now, and Kimber now has one that's sort of in that class. I say sort of, and we'll kind of look at that here in a little bit. But they've come out with the R7 Mako. Now, the Mako, my understanding, is a reference to the Mako shark. So I guess what we're doing today is going to find out if this little shark has any teeth or not. Whether it's very ferocious or whether it's just a cute little dolphin instead. But the Kimber R7 Mako. And one thing off the bat, when you notice this gun that is obviously different than a lot of different guns you see on the market now, is the ejection port. You see how the ejection port is only on the side, not on the top at all, which obviously brings to mind another gun. And I'm pretty sure that Kimber more than likely used that gun as the basis for this one. They were trying to make a smaller gun that would still have that world-class reliability that the gun that they were designing this after has. And that is the C9 by High Point. I believe they were trying to make a little High Point that people could carry, because the High Points are a big gun. But you see how similar this ejection port looks to a High Point, so I'm sure that's what they did, right? I'm not sure how I can even say that with a straight face without cracking up. So obviously that's not the case, but you can't help but think of the High Point when you see that ejection port. It just brings that to mind because that's the way they are. But obviously I don't think there's anything else about this gun that's even remotely similar to a High Point. So it looks like a well-made gun. It feels good in the hand. The grip texture is really nice on it. But it feels a little top heavy. That's one thing I notice about it. Now the SIG P365 feels a little bit that way as well. But this one definitely feels top heavy, like there's a lot of slide above your hand. Another thing I noticed when I was comparing this one, and here's the SIG P365, I'll bring it over here as well, is that this definitely feels heavier than the 365. It feels more substantial. And I don't know how much exactly, because on their website, I believe they advertise this as being 19.5 ounces, whereas this one's about 18. This feels a lot heavier than this one, though. I mean, it feels like there's a significant difference. And I know some other reviewers had weighed this gun at being higher than that, but the weight of this Kimber R7 Mako on the website, I think, is without the magazine, but I don't know that the magazine weighs that much. But I know some reviewers had this up around 22.5 ounces, so I don't know. That feels like more where it is compared to the 18 ounces of the SIG P365, or somewhere around that mark, 18.5, somewhere along those lines. But the other thing is, this looks a lot thicker. It doesn't look anywhere near as thin as the P365. From the rear as well, looks like a thicker gun. As far as grip length, overall, the Kimber is a longer grip, except when you get the very front, because the SIG slants down at the front, and that makes it about the same length, at the front. But otherwise, it is a little bit of a longer grip, and if you put the 13 round mag in this and the 12 round in this, it's still about the same difference. But if you look at the dimensions on this gun, because it looks really thick, if you look at the dimensions, you'll find that the slide of this gun is the same as the slide on a Glock 26, which is their double stack subcompact. Now the frame on this one's a little thinner than the frame on a Glock 26, but the slides are the same. And so when I said it's sort of in this class, that's kind of what I mean. It's between the SIG P365 and like the Glock 26. It's kind of in between. It's really not in this class of size, but it's really not quite as big as a Glock 26 in thickness. So it's somewhere in between. And I guess that just depends on if you want something as small as the 365. I mean, to be honest, with this one right here, you could almost go with the 365 XL. Might even be a better comparison between this gun and this one, even though the XL might be a little bit longer in the grip than this is with the flush fit magazine. But it's it feels like a bigger gun. Now, how does that translate? It may translate into it shooting better, obviously. A little bit more sight length. You know, the slide is longer. You get longer sight radius. And I can say that I haven't shot this gun yet, but just feeling the trigger, it feels nice. It's got a nice clean break. Whereas the SIG here, it's got some creep and some sponginess to it. I shoot this gun really well, but I've never really liked the feel of the trigger just to feel it. But it doesn't seem to affect the way I'm able to shoot it. So I thought I'd do a little comparison between these. I might even bring out that Taurus GX4 and compare them, because the Taurus feels a little bit more like this, I think, in some ways than the SIG. And so I thought I might make that comparison as well. But we need to do a little bit of shooting here just to get warmed up. I haven't fired it yet, so let's see if I can do anything with it. I'm not making any guarantees. This gun, like several of them that I've done so far, came from my buddy Daryl. And Daryl is a guy who works over at Cooper Firearms in Dyer, Tennessee. So if you're in the West Tennessee area and you're looking for a gun or some ammo, or whatever you might need firearms wise, head over to Dyer, Tennessee and check out Cooper Firearms over there. They just opened up not too long ago, and they could definitely use some business, and we want all the firearm dealers around to get plenty of business. The more the merrier, the way I look at it. Also, before we get started, if you will, check in the description. I've got a link there for the Gun Owners of America, the GOA, for a discounted membership there. You can click on that link, join up, help us in the fight for our gun rights, because we just had a big victory in the Supreme Court, but then some legislation was just signed. So, one step forward, a step or two back, and we've just got to keep fighting. We just can't give up, because the anti-gunners aren't going to give up. And if you live in the state of Tennessee, there's a link there for the Tennessee Firearms Association, the TFA as well. They do some great work here in Tennessee. So if you live in Tennessee, click that link as well and join up to the TFA. So let's load some of these up here. I've got 3 magazines here. Daryl was nice enough to give me 3 magazines with the gun, so we can test her out and see what we think of her. I think it's a good looking gun. It looks like a high-end gun, we'll put it that way. Some guns look expensive and some guns look cheap, right? Now, you can't always tell necessarily. The Glock is a pretty plain gun, but it's not inexpensive. But of course, the Glock is tested and it's tried and true, and it's got a reputation behind it. It's kind of a no-frills gun, but it's still not an inexpensive gun. But the Kimber here, I mean, it looks like a nice gun. I mean, it looks like a higher-end gun from a more custom manufacturer even. I mean, it looks like something you would expect from a company that's known for 1911s like Kimber. So I'll give them kudos for that they made a gun that has a nice look to it. It looks like quality. It feels like quality. It feels solid in the hand. And, that doesn't mean a whole lot if it doesn't shoot well, though. So we've got to get these mags loaded up and put a few rounds down range before we can really make a determination of what we think about this gun. Let's see. I think I'll put one more in here. All right. We'll start out with the flush fit magazines. Put a round in the chamber, and we'll just start blasting away at some of these targets out here and see what happens. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can figure out where to hold. We'll hold dead on and see what happens. Maybe a little high. All right. Nice bright front sight. Lay down a little bit. There we go. Well, that little plate gave me fits, but that's a nice trigger. Woo, that's a nice trigger. That first shot, when I pulled the trigger, it kind of got away from me a little bit. I wasn't expecting it to break so easy. Kind of shocked me a little bit because I wasn't expecting it to go off quite that quick. Not the best accuracy, just looking at where I'm placing them on the targets, but I'm not saying that's the gun. That's probably just me getting used to it, so I'm not going to be too critical of it yet. Probably not going to be too critical of it anyway when it comes to accuracy, because it's probably just me anyway. Let's go over here to the cowboy first. Alright, let me see if I can get that little plate there. I touched him. He wiggled a little bit. Didn't get a good solid hit on him. So I'm gonna have to try him again. That ought to be good enough, but it's just not. I gotta see him dance a little more than that. He just wasn't into it enough. He just wasn't feeling the music. So I gotta see if I can get him a little more into it. Maybe not. There we go. Man, this has got a nice trigger. Really nice trigger. Let me see if I can hit this one over here at 80 yards. I'm not going to make any predictions here, but whoa. First one was a little low. I brought her up, and second shot. Yeah, this is a pretty nice little gun. That was just me out there at 35. Drop the mags. Dropping mags. All right, let's load up a few more, and then I'm gonna compare it to the SIG as well as the Taurus, and just see what I think. See which one I like the best. I'm gonna load up 10 rounds in all three, and I'm gonna shoot them in succession, and then we'll just see what we think. See what our verdict is as far as shootability. Now, obviously, we're not talking about carry, because carry and shooting are two different things. You can have a gun that shoots better than any gun you've ever shot in your life, but it be so heavy and big and uncomfortable to carry that you leave it at the house. And if you leave it at the house, it doesn't do you a lot of good to even have it, other than just taking it to the range. So as far as a carry gun goes, which is what we're looking at in a gun this size, obviously. Because if you're wanting a range toy, you're not going to probably pick up a subcompact like this. You're going to, you're going to buy something a little bit bigger. Because as good as this trigger is, as well as that Kimber is shooting, you make that gun with a 4.5, 5-inch barrel and a longer grip, same trigger, and it's going to shoot even better. I think I may have actually loaded too many rounds in that Taurus, but that'll be all right. I like that Taurus. It won't hurt me to shoot an extra round. All right. Just load the mags in all of them. And I'm going to start off with the Kimber, then the SIG P365, and then I'm going to shoot the Taurus GX4, and we'll just see what I think. And we'll just be shooting on these targets right over here. Not gonna try them at 80 yards or anything like that. I might throw one out there at 35 maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Well, where I'm going. There we go. Not sure. Nice trigger, but I sure couldn't find the range on that one. I thought I was holding the same place I was before, but it's a new box of ammo, but it's the same brand, so I wouldn't think that would change anything. Let's try the SIG. Definitely smaller. Definitely feels like a smaller gun in the hand. Even though you get about the same amount of, purchase on the grip, the finger placement's about the same. It just feels like a smaller gun. Of course, you've got less sight radius, less slide there. Well, I don't know where I'm going either. Is that target dodging? Am I missing it? It's like the Matrix. Dodging bullets. I didn't hit it with either gun, did I? All right. GX4 feels sort of in between. It feels bigger than the SIG, even though when you look at the dimensions and compare them, they're really not much difference. They're almost identical, but it feels more substantial in the hand, probably because the grip is thicker that direction, wider that way. But this feels more substantial than the SIG, but let's try this one, see if I can hit with it. Yeah. Maybe I'll find the range. There it was. Had to bring it over just a hair. Well, I don't know if it makes a difference, but the Taurus is the only one I actually hit all the plates with that time. Because it's such a good shooting little gun. I mean, I'm honestly not sure. Let me see here. Let me just compare these two. Let me feel this trigger. I'm going to close my eyes and just feel. It's a nice break. It's a nice break. Nice reset. Just a little bit of creep, but a nice break. All right. Let's try the Taurus now. Close my eyes here. No creep at all that I felt. There's no creep at all. I mean, this thing is just breaking. A little bit of take up, but no creep once you hit that wall. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this trigger is nice. I think it's a little lighter than the Taurus. The Taurus feels a tad bit heavier, but the Taurus break is cleaner. It is. I'm just blown away by this Taurus every time I get it out. Just shocked by how good this gun has been. I don't have 1,000 rounds through it or anything yet, but so I can't tell you, what kind of durability it has. But right out of the box, this thing has just been absolutely impressive. That's not what we're talking about today. Every time I get that Taurus out, in every video I do of a different gun, when I get that Taurus out, I start raving about it, don't I? Ought to be a Taurus spokesman. What do you think? All right, I'm gonna shoot 3 more mags, and then that ought to be good enough to come up with an opinion on the Kimber R7 Mako. That ought to be enough shooting for me to know if it's got some teeth to it. I'm leaning toward yes. I'm leaning towards it being able to do the job. I believe it is a quality firearm. I really do. There's nothing about it so far that has suggested anything else than it being a good gun. But I've been wrong before. But I haven't seen anything on the internet about people complaining about it, really. But to be honest, I don't see a lot about it on the internet at all. I went back and watched some of the videos that were done on it when it first came out, Hickok 45 and Honest Outlaw and some different ones, to sort of refresh my memory of it, because I really hadn't messed with one before. And it'd been a long time since I even remembered seeing anything about them, so I wanted to kind of catch up and get up to speed on it a little bit before I shot it. And you know, I didn't hear anything bad about it at all in any of those videos or anything I've seen on it, so I don't know that it's got any kind of bad track record at all. But there being so little information out there about it, I'm just not sure how many people actually even have it in their hands right now. I'm just not seeing it in the stores a lot either, so maybe that's part of it. There's just not a lot of them out there for people to test, and so there's not a lot of information out there. But so far I have nothing bad to say, we'll put it that way. All right, let's shoot again. I'm gonna go out here to 80 yards one more time, just to see if I can replicate it. I probably can't, and I'm gonna embarrass myself, but I'm gonna try anyway. Bring it down. Shooting a little high, brought her down. There she is. That's it's not too bad. Now, how in the world I can hit that out there and I can't seem to hit this blade up here, I don't know. I'm really thinking this thing's doing that matrix thing on me. Just let me know if you see it vibrating or something, or whatever that thing is. It does. There we go. All right, 2 more magazines, and I'm gonna call it good enough. There we go. You know, when I stop even thinking about it, I'm just kind of going with it and just acting by instinct. I'm really doing a good job hitting with this gun. And that says something about the gun, that when you can stop thinking and you actually start shooting better with a gun, that means it's very easy to become one with a gun, I guess you could say, to get a feel for how it works, and for it to be very much a part of your body, so to speak. You know, that's how you get with a gun when you get to really know it well. And the fact that I've barely got any time in with this gun and it's already starting to do that says a lot about you know, how well this gun shoots. So, you know, I can't say anything bad about this at all. Nothing bad at all. Last magazine. There we go. That's a good shooter. That is a good shooter. It most definitely is. And not too terribly pricey either. You know, it's not a cheap gun, but I think they're going for 600 and something. So I mean, that's not just completely out of the ballpark with a lot of the other guns on the market. You know, so, you know, I think Kimber did a good job with this. I really do. Didn't have any feeding issues whatsoever. So, you know, that different the ejection system that they've got there, the different ejection port, didn't seem to cause any problems. And there it is. I believe she's a pretty nice gun. I appreciate Darryl lending it to me. I don't think he's even shot it yet. Man lent me a gun he hadn't even took to the range yet. That's a good friend right there. Because I sure wouldn't. I got to shoot him first. If anybody gonna shoot it, it's gonna be me first. Of course, I can't wait very long. As soon as I get one, I got to come out here and blast away at least a mag or two. So, anyway, guys, appreciate y'all coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves. See you next time.